And usually with multiple marketing companies, specifically the nutrition ones, they will have some kind of like onboarding program plan, and that will get people in the door. They'll give them some quick wins, and then that'll provide the desire a lot of times for people to continue to purchase other kind of products. Hi folks, today we're diving into Unicity, a fiber MLM company that has been taking over TikTok. If you've been scrolling TikTok and you've seen someone come up on your For You page and they're talking about the benefits of fiber, it could just be some helpful tips and tricks, or it could be a fiber MLM. It's a big recruiting tactic of this specific MLM. So we're going to dive into it. If all that sounds good to you, let's go. Now, before we dive in, let's discuss the business model that Unicity runs on, which is multi-level marketing. The goal of my channel and the video specifically, when I do focus in on a company, those are primarily for people who are maybe considering joining, who want more information from an outside perspective, or for those who are already in and also kind of seeing some red flags and might be considering their next steps to maybe doing something that maybe more aligns with their values or how they see ethical business practices. And so because of that, I like to briefly talk about multi-level marketing, the structure itself. The success in multi-level marketing is skewed. The vast majority of participants earn little to no money or lose money, as per the company provided income disclosure statements. The inherent design of multi-level marketing is disproportionate as far as like benefits go to those at the top, and often at the expense of new people who have been recruited into the company. The likelihood of achieving significant and sustainable income is very slim, at least for the majority of MLM participants, and that is not for lack of trying. The promises and the kind of dream selling of financial freedom, financial independence, that is often the recruiting tool to getting people in rather than the actual outcome. Rather than traditional businesses who focus their time and their energy on the actual product, MLMs tend to focus on recruitment and having other people bring on other people in order to sell the product, rather than just talking about the product and just promoting the product. They sell a dream. The emphasis on recruitment over sales, that leads the income being mostly generated from recruits rather than sales. MLMs often encourage and sometimes pressure people into selling within their social network, including their friends and their families, and this can strain relationships. Another concerning factor, in my opinion, within the MLM structure is that a lot of times they can discourage kind of independent thought and negative feedback, and instead create this kind of toxic positivity environment where anything that is not positive about the product or the company or the business model is seen as like hate. I'll put some additional links for multi-level marketing and some concerns around there, some good resources in my opinion. With all that in mind, let's go ahead and shift specifically towards Unicity. They talk a lot about their history on their website. So they say that Unicity was founded with a bold mission to make healthy living doable in an on-the-go world. And while the vision was big, the company came from small beginnings, which is like most companies. So they actually began with one product. It was called Bio's Life, which was later renamed to Balance. And Bio's Life, which is now Balance, provided a unique way to support healthy cholesterol and blood sugar levels, which we will talk about. They continue on. When this product was originally placed in retail stores throughout the United States, there was one problem. It didn't sell as well as expected. Although the product had been endorsed by professionals for its unique qualities, it needed more explanation than the traditional nutrition label could offer. As a result, a new person-to-person sales process was implemented. This model gave people the opportunity to connect with others and explain why Unicity products were different from generic supplements. From there, Unicity continued to expand and establish international markets as well as an ever-growing product selection. And today, Unicity has a selection of more than 400 products. It is sold in over 60 countries, and their mission is to help people everywhere enjoy a beautiful, healthy, fulfilling life through exceptional products, a fun and rewarding business opportunity, and a culture of family, health, and gratitude. Now, I wanted to read that because that narrative about the person-to-person sales model, going to that, the MLM structure instead of the retail format, in my opinion, there's several things worth discussing. So they claimed in there about Bio's Life, which was later renamed to Balance, that it supports healthy cholesterol and blood sugar levels. That is a pretty significant claim, and it's crucial that claims are backed by not just studies, but peer-reviewed studies, quality studies, which more on that soon. But they mentioned how the issue of Bio's life, it needed more of an explanation than what the label could provide. And some of the concerns that I have when you move a product, a nutrition supplement, from direct to customers from like a retail place versus getting the information from a distributor, there is a very fine line between educating and making claims about a product and talking about it, promoting it, selling it on anecdotal information. And that line is blurred so often in the field or in the space of multi-level marketing. That's one of the big concerns outside of the kind of ethical considerations regarding the recruitment and outside of like the business model itself and the financial kind of setup of that. The one-on-one time that distributors get with potential consumers, that can be a space where misinformation is spread. Or even if it's not necessarily misinformation, it's so much based on anecdotal information, which is that person's own experience with a product, rather than it being on what is on the label and what is like evidence-based about the product. And it's not to say that one's experience on a specific product is not valuable. It's not saying that, I shouldn't believe them about their experience on a certain product, but it's very easy to hear anecdotal information and then have a lot of misunderstandings, some miscommunication, some extrapolation of those results onto other kind of people, onto other situations. And that would lead to more sales, but at what cost? The model itself creates situations in which people are incentivized to share their story and maybe have some embellishment and incentivize perhaps to overstate some claims. They do have several different studies available, very easily available on their website. I will give them that. I clicked on every single one of them and there were only a small handful of those that had a DOI or a digital object identifier. Now that number is placed on research studies that are included into peer-reviewed journals. Those numbers are often associated with reputable scientific research. Anybody can do a research study and they can kind of prepare it in a way that matches the layout that you might find in a peer-reviewed journal. But if it wasn't published, there can be some concerns that come up, like who is running it, what was the study size, how long did it happen, what was the control, who's funding it, right? Like there's so many things to consider. And one of the things that I look for, kind of checklist things that I look for, is seeing, is it published in a reputable journal? Now, some of their studies are, but the majority of ones that I saw, unless I'm wrong, the ones that were linked at least did not have many of them. Most of them that were linked did not have them. Now, there were some that had DOI numbers. The ones that I saw, though, they were like generally well-believed information about specific supplements and their impact on health. What I mean by that is like fiber reducing cholesterol, or fish oil, omega-3 fatty acids, supporting brain health. So it wasn't necessarily anything that was revolutionary, substantial in a way that is specific to this company. From what I saw, the ones that were considered, I think, a little bit more reputable as far as like the research goes, the nutritional science behind the fact that fiber supports healthy cholesterol levels and fish oil, omega-3 fatty acids support brain health, that is not proprietary to any nutritional company. Those are recognized by the medical community at large. Now, we'll get into the specific products, but just kind of a prelude to that, I don't know if that's right, you said that word, but like, before we get into that, just know that, like, yeah, if something has fiber, we can see changes in cholesterol levels. If something has omega-3 fatty acids in it, of course, there is a spectrum of like the quality of it and the amounts and the specific types in there, but overall, we can see that that can impact the person's health. And so whether or not they're coming from MLM or not doesn't really make a difference. Now, typically with multi-level marketing companies and their supplements, they're going to be at a higher cost, and they'll often say that this is because of the quality of the products. There are a lot of very high quality products that are not related to MLM whatsoever. Specifically for fiber, there are so many great options out there that are not MLM. Same thing with omega-3s, same thing with multivitamins. There are so many great supplements, and supplements aren't a bad thing. Sometimes supplements can make sense and be recommended and encouraged and make a big difference in someone's life, but it's of course on an individual kind of basis. And when there is a product that might work that is also sold in an MLM structure, we're going to be able to find non-MLM products that can be used instead, can be used as an alternative. Now, I also want to say that when I have seen Unicity distributors pop up on my For You page on TikTok, oftentimes what I have seen is that they're giving, solid information about fiber itself. Fiber that we can find in apples, in legumes, in oatmeal, but then they continue on and then focus in on their product. And then we can get into some concerns with claims with that. But from what I have seen is they'll mention specifically how it can help lower cholesterol, how it can help balance blood sugar levels. And while fiber itself, we know that it can impact those things, if someone is watching and they are experiencing that in their own life, I would still encourage them to, if they have an opportunity, to see someone like a registered dietitian so they could have a personalized kind of plan of action that would help, knowing also where their cholesterol levels are, and have that health professional to really help make a plan of action for them, rather than someone just kind of throwing supplements at them. Because supplements, you're just adding on so much cost, especially for Unicity. They're pricey, but we can get a lot of benefit from various kind of small behavior change things that we can implement that don't require the purchase of supplements, or especially expensive supplements, and we can focus on food first. Now, before we dive into the products specifically, let's talk about fiber overall, what it is, where it's found, what it does, all of that information. Just a few notes about fiber. So fiber is known for its benefits on digestive health, for blood sugar control or balance, and for feelings of fullness. Just overall, it has a lot of different benefits. Now, fiber is a kind of carbohydrate, but our bodies don't digest it in the same way, or don't digest it, unlike other carbs that can be broken down into those sugar molecules, like glucose molecules. Now, there are two main types of fiber. There are other kind of ways of grouping them, you could do fermentable, moderately fermentable, low fermentability, but typically we're looking at the categories of soluble and insoluble. So soluble dissolves in water into this gel-like substance. It can help to manage blood sugar level control. So when you're eating carbohydrates, one of the recommendations if somebody is wanting to manage their blood sugar levels is to, whenever, let's say they're having a snack, instead of just having something that's carbohydrate, can we have something that's maybe carbohydrate that also includes some fiber in there? And at the same time, can we add some kind of protein or some fat to go along with it? So like an apple and peanut butter, that's a great option as an example. And is also beneficial, soluble fiber, beneficial for overall cholesterol levels. Now, soluble fiber is found in various foods. So when we think about soluble fiber, we're still thinking about carbohydrates. That includes things like oats, peas, beans, apples, citrus fruits, carrots, vegetables, barley, psyllium husk. That is on the supplement side of things. If somebody is wanting to have some fiber, that's one of the more common and recommended forms of a fiber supplement. Metamucil is a good example of a psyllium, one of the most well-known psyllium husk kind of fiber supplements, but there are so many other ones. I have a lot of people who don't like the flavor of Metamucil so much, and so there are other kind of options. There are capsule forms of psyllium. There's also powder that are unflavored, but psyllium specifically, especially because that one's not fermentable in the same way as other fibers are, and so psyllium specifically can be really helpful for those who are experiencing IBS and various things. Of course, it's all individual and stuff, but I'm a big fan of psyllium. So that is soluble fiber. fiber, let's talk about insoluble fiber. So insoluble fiber is kind of like the bulk. If you think about like just something kind of bulk moving things through, kind of like sweeping things through, not really sweeping, but just moving things through. It increases the bulk. It can help kind of move things out. Things like whole wheat flour, bran, wheat bran, nuts, beans also, even though they have some soluble fiber in them, more vegetables overall. Those are all great sources of insoluble fiber. Even like the little seeds, like in berries, the little seeds inside, like blueberries, all those little seeds inside, those can help kind of create this bulk. Now, fiber is really beneficial, helpful for maintaining a healthy digestive tract. We don't want to have stool. We don't want to have the poop hanging there for a long time. We want to get those, like, it's waste for a reason. We don't want to keep that in our bodies. And so we want to kind of move things through. And so typically when we're thinking about fiber intake, we're also seeing, like in research, the higher the fiber intake overall, we typically see lower occurrences of things like diabetes, digestive related cancers, and things like heart disease as well for the cholesterol side of things. Now, a lot of people consume less than what is recommended, which across populations is like 20-25 to 35-38. I'll put one of my downloads for free if you want to check it out for fiber, just to kind of give you some more information as far as like serving sizes go for the amount of fiber that's in them. This is one of the many reasons why I focus on the positive side of behavior change, of what can we add to our food consumption? What kind of fruits can we add? Vegetables, whole grains, legumes, what can we add for a whole variety of reasons? One of those reasons though is to increase fiber intake. Now, when you are trying to increase your fiber intake, it is important to kind of take it slow. The body can take a little bit of time to get used to increases in fiber, but once it does, you're good. There can be a little bit more gas and bloating once the intake of fiber increases. It shouldn't be like painful though. Sometimes the intake of fiber can cause some issues if someone has IBS, and so that is an example where working with a digestive health focused dietitian can be very, very helpful. And of course, it's really important to make sure that you're drinking enough water, especially if you are using any kind of fiber supplement, like the psyllium husk fiber supplement that I was mentioning. It will say on the label how much water to mix with that, and that is very important. Without that, if you're just like taking it dry, that can lead to impacted bowels, and that is not something that we want to experience. All right, so what we've been waiting for, let's talk about some of these supplements, some of the products from Unicity. I have part of my notes typed out, but then I do some things kind of old school where I'll write like just notes from the website on a piece of paper. I love technology, but sometimes I just love a pen and piece of paper. All right, so what I see so often and what I think is their kind of like way of getting people into the company before they start selling all of the other products, all of the other supplements that they have them, or try to encourage this kind of program to kind of start off. And usually with multilevel marketing companies, specifically the nutrition ones, they will have some kind of like onboarding program plan, and that will get people in the door. They'll give them some quick wins, and then that'll provide the desire a lot of times for people to continue to purchase other kind of products. Okay, so the program is, they have a product that's called Unimate, and that is a yerba mate. I've also heard people call it yerba mate, but I originally heard about it being called yerba or yerba mate, and I did look it up before recording this, and I saw people like not agreeing about the pronunciation, but what I saw like consensus wise was what I thought it was, a yerba mate. But let me know in the comments if I have that wrong. Okay, so that is taken at 7 to 8 a.m. The program, it kind of starts in the evening, I believe, when someone is first jumping into it. So they take a Balance supplement with dinner, and that's at like 5 to 7 p.m. They also take a Balance at 12 p.m. We'll get into that though. But they take that Balance, which is that fiber supplement, and then they're actually fasting from 8 p.m. to 12 p.m. the next day. So they have that Unimate like 7, 9 a.m. They're still like fasting. They're not eating until 12 p.m. And at that point, they take another one of the balance or the fiber supplements. Now for the yerba mate, they have claims that it improves mood, boosts energy, heightens mental clarity, suppresses appetite. Now, yerba mate is a healthy tea, but it's not necessarily healthier than other teas or even coffee. However, it does have some unique nutrition composition. Those would be compounds that are like antioxidants that also might have some anti-inflammatory properties. There are so many non-MLM yerba mate supplements if somebody is looking to include yerba mate into their intake. It is a plant from South America, and it's been used for a very, very long time. People have been drinking, consuming yerba mate for a long time. It's traditionally used for its stimulant properties. It contains caffeine, for example, antioxidants similar to coffee. I feel like it's become more popular in the last few years, but that is by no means to say that it is like a new product or anything, or a new supplement itself. So there are a lot of claims surrounding yerba mate though. So there are the stimulant effects. It contains caffeine like coffee. That is well known for its ability to increase alertness and reduce fatigue. That is well established fact about caffeine itself. And so that's just one of those kind of claims around selling a kind of product like this where I'm like, well, yeah, but that's the caffeine part. There is also a claim about the antioxidant content. It does have pretty good amount of antioxidants in there, similar to that of green tea though. There are some claims about cholesterol and blood sugar, and there are some studies that suggest that yerba mate might have a beneficial effect on blood sugar level, but more research is needed to confirm those findings and to understand the clinical relevance of that. There is also some evidence about the increased fat oxidation and the increased metabolism that has led to those claims about weight loss or weight management. However, those findings are not conclusive, and it brings up further questions of, was that replacing something else in someone's dietary intake that maybe changed the caloric amount, and so that's a potential reason or cause for some of that weight loss seen. Now, Unicity specifically claims to have 10 times the amount of chlorogenic acid. So chlorogenic acids, those are a family of naturally occurring compounds, antioxidants in various plants, and typically most people would consume those in coffee. Some research to suggest that chlorogenic acids may help to reduce some blood pressure in some individuals. They have been observed to influence glucose metabolism for a balanced blood sugar. There is some evidence that they might have a modest effect on weight management, and that the antioxidant properties might help to reduce inflammation. However, it is crucial to note that more does not always mean better. The body can only utilize a certain amount of anything at one time. So I'm not the biggest fan of seeing, and I think that can be used as kind of a selling point for people to say, well, this is similar to tea and coffee, but it contains 10 times the amount of this specific kind of compound that we typically consider an antioxidant. But again, more does not always equal good or better. The health benefits surrounding CGAs or chlorogenic acids are still being researched, and so I would say to just take that into consideration, interpret those claims, the research, just with caution. As with any kind of supplement, we want to make sure that we're focused on food first if possible, rather than trying to use a supplement to make those maybe health related changes. Let's talk about the other main product, which is called Balance. That was the one that you're taking, not you. Please don't. That is the one that they are recommending to take at 12 p.m. and also at 5 or 7 p.m. So it is that fiber supplement. Now, it is a patented blend of fibers. They claim that it helps slow carb absorption, it promotes proper digestion, it has 9 essential vitamins, minerals in there. So it has 3 proprietary blends. So right off the bat there, when we're talking about proprietary, we don't know the total amount of the individual ingredients in there. We can't cross-reference that into recommended amount of those specific supplements. You can have psyllium husk in a supplement, but if you only have a tiny little pinch of it, that is not going to be very helpful. But you can still claim to have it in there and be telling the truth that it's actually in there, but it's not in an amount that is beneficial. So the first proprietary formula, it is called Biosphere, and it's a mixture of guar gum, locust bean gum, citrus pectin, oat fiber, and beta glucan. Now, those are just various types of fiber. They're like the guar gum, that's a soluble fiber that can slow the absorption of sugars. The locust bean gum, that works similar to guar gum. It's often used as like a thickening agent, but it can act as a soluble fiber. They also have a blend that's called Unicity 7X. It's a proprietary blend of plant-derived polysaccharides, gum arabic, and those ingredients are high in soluble fiber. And then there's a Bios Cardio Matrix blend, and that is a mixture of phytosterols, so like plant sterols, plant nutrients, and then polycosanol, and those are put in there for its potential, for their potential like cholesterol lowering effects. Overall, the blend, it does contain fibers that support cholesterol levels, impact digestion. However, we can't know true effectiveness because it is proprietary. The evidence supporting those individual ingredients are generally sound when they are included in a generally varied intake. So looking at those ingredients, they're going to be okay for a lot of people, especially if they're not getting any fiber. But the recommendation is still to go to food first if we can. We can find those soluble fiber and polysaccharides, a lot of the things that are in that supplement. We can get a variety of similar fibers in things like oats and barley, legumes, peas, potatoes, fruits and vegetables, and that includes berries, nuts and seeds, psyllium husk. Overall, we're gonna get those kind of nutrients from there. And in that supplement itself, there was also it was kind of like a multivitamin as well, but when we are including those food sources, we are also getting a variety of micronutrients, similar to what you would see in a multivitamin and more. Now, this program also includes fasting. Fasting can offer some health benefits for some people, but that's not across the board. It is not a guarantee for improvement of health, and it's not necessary. Some studies suggest potential benefits, others opposite. When it comes to weight loss, a lot of times people will find that they see that kind of weight change when they're in fasting because they might eat a little bit more intentionally. Maybe they're not mindlessly eating and eating for boredom or other things. They are on a set amount of time, and so that can certainly reduce the amount of intake that they're taking in, that they're eating. So in summary, the Unicity program that I see promoted on my TikTok feed, my For You page, that combines a fiber supplement with a yerba mate drink with intermittent fasting. Yerba mate is rich in caffeine and other kind of antioxidants and things that we would see in coffee. Some of the claims that I saw seemed a little excessive beyond what we would typically see as far as claims go for teas and coffee. Their fiber blend, it does seem to be in alignment with the variety of fibers in there to support cholesterol levels, digestive health. However, similar fibers can be found in typically more accessible foods like beans and oats and other kind of whole grains and fruits and veggies. The program also includes fasting, which may be beneficial for some and not beneficial for others. Also, that Unimate supplement, the yerba mate, that one goes for 30 packets. It costs $109. And for the Balance supplement, the fiber supplement, it's 60 packages for $135. So if somebody was interested in Unicity, I would really encourage them to spend that time and energy and money instead on things that you can get in a grocery store that are also going to support healthy blood sugar levels and healthy cholesterol levels. It's possible to see benefits, the benefits claimed in this kind of program, like the digestion support, cholesterol support. We can approach that from a food kind of focus. And if there is a need for some kind of supplements, there are non-MLM sources that are so much lower in cost. and that are high quality. I'm talking like third-party tested. And sometimes I find that supplements can be helpful for some of the people that I work with. And I actually go through what is called full script, and I can provide like specific recommendations when it comes to supplements. I have made it just across my channel and also for my practice, any kind of supplements that I either talk about on this channel or the ones that I put through full script, like I am not getting a kickback for that. Like whether it is digestive health, general health, sports nutrition, there are so many times that I've recommended specific supplements, but I just don't think it's in alignment with what I do, what I stand for, to get like paid off of those supplements. So I just wanted to put that out there too. Like if you are looking for specific supplements, I can provide those, but I don't get any like benefit from that. And I think when it comes to supplements, medication, I think that that's how it should go. Like in my opinion, that's how things should be. Like your provider should not be benefiting from specific supplements and medications, in my opinion. And of course, medications are way outside of my scope of practice. Supplements are within my scope of practice. And so that's why I personally don't take like commission off of supplements. All right, that wraps it up for today's video. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. Please leave a like if you like this video. Make sure you're subscribed. I'd greatly appreciate that. And remember, you can strive for health without subscribing to diet culture. I'll see you later.